Do you love old cars and trucks? Join us on Bring 'em Back to Life, where we search the salvage yards and backyards of America to find that gold mine of a parts car or that restorable gem in the rough. Come with us down memory lane as we elevate the status of our salvage yards to outdoor museums of automotive history.
Come on, this is where the magic goes.
Well, I'm standing here with William Eggers, and I met him at an auto show at the Mohegan Sun with one of his exhibits, the 1898 beer pickup truck over there that he restored, an original Daimler. I contacted him later and I said, can I come up to Goshen and get your history, what you've done and how you build stuff? And here we are in Goshen, Connecticut. And Bill, it's nice to meet you again. We're standing in front of your newest creations, but we want you to tell us how you started.
I used to live in Queens. I was born there. Basically, when I started working in the city, I was doing all the shop work for a construction outfit that I owned and ran. So I had a lot of time to kill doing absolutely nothing. So I got making unique vehicles and stuff like that. After I retired, then I basically did a lot of different unique items, vehicles, because it was the firsts of this, the first of that.
You explained to us that this vehicle here, the Duryea,
this was a gas vehicle.
this one was gas.
Correct.
And it's going to be in the American Automobile Association's headquarters when it's done.
They have a new office building that they're renovating as we speak, and they're going to move into it, and this will be in their lobby because their club logo for the last 50, 60 years, since 1935, the club logo is this car. And so that's why they wanted me to build this for them. And it's 98% the way it came back then, but I do it my way because it's mine. And I don't give a damn what other people think. I do it because I like it, and so as long as I'm doing it, I make it pretty. Well, basically this is the dirty part of the whole trade. All the welding and grinding and spray painting I do right here inside. This is basically it. You have all pictures of all the walls and stuff of most of the bikes that I've done. Probably between 50 and 100 I've done over the past 50 years. That's Willie G. Davidson, the owner of Harley Davidson, up there with me at the show. And that's him again over there. He used to come to all these shows, of course. That's just a little history, a little snippet of having fun. I've had shops and everything where I did all the furniture work for the renovating apartments that we did, or brownstones, or this or that. And it was, everything. It goes the whole gamut. I mean, I probably have a master I'm probably a master in about 15 different trades from my whole life. I mean, from when I was 10 years old, I used to work. I think my whole first job was making little signs for people's lawns. I was like 10 years old, and I was making things in my basement and going around.
Well, you were explaining, Bill, about a lot of these pictures you have on the wall of some of these beautiful old motorcycles and things, and they were sold to individuals, so you didn't get a lot of credit for your work because people had them in their homes, in their garages, but then people started finding them after they were sold at auctions due to people, dying and collections being sold, and people would call you up and say, we want to know more about this motorcycle. Who's this Wild Bill? So how did that come about in a TV version?
Well, I used to overdo a lot of my bikes to satisfy my fashion sense. As they put in one of the magazines, another overly enhanced factory restoration by Wild Bill, because I used to do all these different things with the bikes that nobody's done. I mean, I had one bike with like 6 different wolf murals painted, hand painted by an artist all over it. And then when I'd show it, it'd be the wolf. They'd say Wild Bill is this, another creation by Wild Bill. Not that I was wild personally, but the things that I did were not your common accepted style.
So what got your interest in making this particular first-of-a-kind beer truck?
Well, I made the first Daimler truck, which was about 5 years before this one, okay? And that was a converted horse-drawn wagon, and the motor was underneath in the back, but that's considered the first truck in the world. I joined the Mercedes-Benz Club recently of America, and actually was a main exhibit with one of my Daimlers down on Long Island here at the National Meet. And so in their magazine they have the heritage of Mercedes-Benz, and they're finally acknowledging Daimler. And so the bottom line is, I saw this particular thing in there under their heritage. They had a write-up on it, and I said, wow, that looks really cool. I think I'll build that. So just from that picture in the magazine, this actually does run. But what I did was, because the motor in this one is in the front, it's considered the first conventional looking truck with the motor over the front wheels. It actually made up the name Daimler Brewery to put on here because it's a Daimler. But somebody come up to me and he said, you know, I just came back from Germany. He says, there is a Daimler brewery over there. And I just thought it up in my dreams, you know, as a goof. But I said, really? Yeah, oh, okay. So that actually is the radiator. Originally water cooled, and I couldn't put a working motor in this. That's because the whole motor, the bottom is underneath and then it comes up through here. The whole motor is in your face. So I couldn't hide, disguise it, you know. So this doesn't run on its own power. I happen to have two of these that I made, and they're both for sale, but that's besides the point. The Benz three-wheel car is, Mercedes-Benz considers that the first car in the world, but this, I have it on my signage as the first four-wheel car in the world, because the Mercedes only is a three-wheeler. And so I figured, you know, being a businessman retired, let me build the first four-wheel car, and maybe the people that have because there are about 40 or 50 of them, replicas of the first one made in the United States out there in dealers and different things from Mercedes. I figured if you got the three-wheeler, you would want the four-wheeler in Daimler, because Daimler and Benz back in those days were buddies. They both worked in the same factory. But this was actually only made from this model that a friend of mine that was visiting Germany in the Mercedes-Benz Museum, they sell them over there, and this is the only thing I had to go by to build this thing.
I'm kind of smiling because when I look at this, it looks to me like a huge flywheel that's been hogged out.
Yeah, yep.
What did you? How did you get to that?
Well,
mechanism?
It's in there. I mean, I blow these things up, you know, go to take pictures and have them blown up down at Staples, and then I could see more technically what it is. This actually is one of the only things, this big chain sprocket is one of the only things that I had to have a modern day machine shop build for me. They did it with a computer and a water jet and made it to my specifications. and then I made it onto the wood hub and, you know, the way it was. But probably in the old days, they'd had it carved out of a piece of steel with a rat tail file. I mean, it's ridiculous, but
this portion of it is wood.
yes. That's, well, that's off, but this is the only brake. You have one on each side. They're the same, but, and that's it. That's like more like an emergency brake, and then you put it back and just have it so that there's a little clearance, and then it would run. But a lot of these old things, including the Duryers that we just saw over there, they didn't come with brakes. They didn't have brakes. The only brake was just to retard the motor, and had the motor stop you slowly. Take a look at this in here. Oh, these are the bikes.
A steam bicycle.
Well, motorcycle.
Motorcycle.
Considered, right.
Right.
And this is just on the way, getting ready to go to the show. These two will be there. The one in the back is the Daimler, the first gasoline bike in the world, period. And the one next to it is this Roper, made in Springfield, Mass., the first steam motorcycle in the United States. This motor is the motor that actually goes in the gas bike, because I made a few of these and sold them to museums correctly with the motor in it. That is my toy, and I actually have a 1920 Harley Davidson motor in that one, and I can take that, jump on it, and drive down the road, go for the newspaper, you know what I mean?
So that actually
But-
is a Harley Davidson
Motor,
engine.
correct.
Yep.
All done up. A friend of mine does antique motors in Oregon. That's all he does, and he made the motor over with a flywheel on it and everything else. It goes over good at shows. People like it.
Right, right. Thank you very much, Bill.
My pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.